for a long time, like forever. This is my 10th, so I've never missed one, and they really wish I'd go away. Today I'm going to talk about crafting your coming out letter. I'm going to provide a couple examples, some ideas. However, what must be remembered about your coming out letter is it is your letter, in mine. It's yours. So it's going to be specific to you. I'm going to give some ideas, some hints that I found worked. I've written 2 of these so far, one for my parents, one for my employer. Well, they worked initially. But what I did is I asked a lot of my friends, including someone who's sitting in the back, about their letters. And I combined all the best practices. So hopefully, these will be best practices for you too. So right, I knew about that I was different back when I was 5 years old. 5, I went to a public school. 5 years old. And my dad, he didn't like that too much. Said he wasn't going to have no sissy bleeps in his house, and he decided he was going to beat it out of me. As you can see, I was a very happy child. So, in 1983, I stopped dressing. I decided I was going to be a man. I burned all my girl clothes that I bought via the Sears catalog, which some of you are too young to remember, but it used to be a big book and you could order things and they'd actually come to your house.
The dreaded purge.
Yes, the dreaded purge. The only time I've ever purged. I was going to be a man, and from there on in, I became extremely depressed, violent. I drank a lot, that sort of thing, because I was trying not to be who I truly am. Then, in 2008, I went to a Halloween party as a woman. I was Lois Lane. This is not my Lois Lane costume, because obviously this isn't Halloween. A seal broke. All that I'd been holding in for 25 years just suddenly came flowing back. So I went to get a makeover done up in New York, Femme Fever. I don't know if anyone's familiar with. And my thought was, if she could make me look half decent, this is something I would pursue. Otherwise, I would just stamp it down again. Well, when I looked in the mirror, that's what I saw, and I thought it wasn't bad. So it set me on my journey. A journey which continues today. A journey which led to that letter, which is in my hand, and I'm going to bore you by reading it to you. What I want you to listen for are parts that you think you could use in your own, and we will talk about it real quick. This is a letter I wrote to my parents. So there's some slightly personal things in here, but oh well, I'm a very public person. So, dear Mom and Dad, my wife and I are here today to tell you exactly why we are no longer living under the same roof. As I've maintained many times, this is no fault of hers in any way. The issue is complex, which is why I'm reading this to you instead of just speaking. I wanted to get it right. Wife knows all what I'm going to tell you and has known for nearly 2 years. I've changed the name from my wife's name to wife because, There's something I have to tell you about myself. While this is serious, I am not dying, nor am I intending to do so. I have been hiding from or dealing with this problem since I was 4, and you saw that picture. And really, I didn't understand it. I'm sure you realize, you okay? I'm sure you realize that I've had problems, and even though I've tried to maintain a steady face on the surface, something has never quite been right with me. As you know, I've been in therapy for 13 years. You also know about my hospitalization back in 1990, suicide attempt. For the past 5 years, I've been seeing a specialist to get a handle on my issue and get a better understanding of myself. You may have noticed some of the changes in me this year. I feel better both in general about myself, and about myself than I have at any time in my life. The medical term for this condition is called gender dysphoria, and it is basically a condition of being transgender. What this really means is that though biologically I was born male, my brain and my own sense of being is that of a female. This is not the same as being a crossdresser, drag queen, female impersonator, or being a gay male. I'm going to repeat that. This is not the same as being a crossdresser, drag queen, female impersonator, or being a gay male. I repeat it because it's kind of important. Inside, I've always felt as though I was female, and I never knew what to do about it. For years, I sought therapy and psychological counseling in order to get a better understanding of myself and to find a way to sort out my problems. I wanted to feel normal and achieve some happiness and success in my life. Being transgender has been extremely difficult to accept, and over the years I've ignored it, denied it, and fought with God over it, and only now have fully accepted that I am transgender. This is a physical condition, not a mental one I share with nearly 700,000 people in the United States. There are many theories as to how this happens, but it's clear it occurred in utero, and there's nothing anyone could have done to prevent it. This has nothing to do with how I was raised, my diet, anything. I was born this way. 41% of the people with this attempt suicide, as it's a very painful way to live. Notice I use a statistic. Through my therapy, I began working with a team of medical professionals to help me through my situation. There is no cure for this. The only treatment for being transgender is to make a gender transition. This is not a choice. It is something I have to do to survive. Italicized. I have been treated by a therapist for 5 years and also saw a second therapist for a second opinion. And he told me I was ugly too. I am under the treatment of an experienced physician. I have been on hormone therapy since December 2012. This was December 2013. And that has brought about an amazing change to my mental state. It has allowed me to feel right inside for the first time ever, and it's given me hope that one day I can live a peaceful and happy life. The medication has brought about some physical changes, and that will continue. This may seem sudden and impulsive, but in actuality it is not. I have been doing many activities as a woman over the past 5 years, including attending a local King of Prussia transgender support group once a month, shopping and eating out regularly, and helping others who are on this path. I spent the last 5 years building an emotional support network, very important, and have many close friends in this community. I also write a monthly column for a website and have a blog with thousands of readers. My mother-in-law suspected something was odd and found out about this on her own. She never discussed any of this with me, but acted on her own fears and prejudices. Her solution was to throw me out of the house. This is why wife and I live apart. Wife has been more supportive than I could ever dream, but in the end she doesn't wish to be married to a woman. That is why she won't move in with me. Daughter does not know yet. She does now, but will in the near future. Wife and I are committed to both being actively in her life and being the best parents we can as a team. Daughter deserves a parent who is at peace with themselves. She deserves my best, and I intend to give that to her always. I will always be the same person inside. I hope you will agree with me that at heart I am a good person. All I want to feel is peace and have a chance to reach my full potential in life. I will always be your child, and I love both of you very much. The reality is, mentally, I have always been your daughter, not your son, and I hope you will be able to accept me. All I am doing is making physical changes to help me become the person on the outside that I am on the inside and to be accepted. I will always be here for both of you to help take care of you. I realize that finding this out is very painful for you right now, and believe me, I have always tried to avoid facing this about myself, mainly for this very reason. The last thing I ever want to do is hurt you, but in order to have any chance at a happy and fulfilling life, I have to make this change. I know that this is going to take some time, and I ask you to be patient with me, and I will be patient with you. The person who you named Lance resides within me. Lance's hopes, fears, memories, loves, aspirations all remain a part of me. I have chosen the path of my happiness. I do not apologize to anyone for making my life a better one. I know that some people will never understand how such a thing could happen and will react in utter disbelief. Some people take steps to live in denial. I, however, choose not to do so. I am the author of my life. No one else has a right to attempt to form my life into the image they would have it be. My life is not based on lies. My life is based on love and care for my family, my friends, and for those who deserve my love. I ask for your understanding, acceptance, and love. I am passing through a difficult time and have already lost so much. It will get harder, both for me and for you, but in time it will get better. No matter what, I will continue forward. I finally have a chance at happiness and peace in my life. I'd rather have you see me reach my full potential and that peace. You will have many questions, and I will continue to have them. I will do my best to answer them for you. Love, Lance. Lance is my old man. That's that letter. You can barely see it, but there are italicized parts and that sort of thing. In 2014, here at this very conference, a transition. That was March 25th, 2014. So that's what I looked like back then, kind of a larval stage. So I think I got better. I mean, what happened? Back in 1986, if I wanted to get a date, I had to hang $100 bills around my neck, and it still didn't work. So, but transition is brutal. I don't have to tell any of you this, especially these days. You've seen things like this, I'm sure. How much hate there is out there for us. Transgender bills. I believe Arkansas has re-advanced one. Or was it Florida today? I can't remember, one or the other. There's people still threatening us. We're still dying at a huge rate. And of course, there's that 41%. I think the number's low because they only survey the living. The one in the upper left is my friend Lisa. She was my best friend. She killed herself in September of 2013. And yeah. So the stakes are high, this life. We don't do it for fun. Transition should be a last resort. Let me rephrase that for you. Transition should be the last resort. You don't do this for fun. I just showed you the costs. You could die from this. It should be the absolute last thing. If you can live with not transitioning, do it. For me, it was a choice between blowing my head off with a shotgun or transitioning. I chose to transition.
Excuse me.
Sure.
I had that choice myself, and I didn't think that, this could happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was 18 years old. I had no idea who I was or what I was.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me it came in like pieces, bits and pieces.
It does for so many. Well, I'm glad you're still here.
Yeah.
Quick definition of terms for those who don't know, coming out as a metaphor for LGBT, self-disclosure of our sexual orientation or gender identity, or both. Sexual orientation, gender identity, two different things. Never confuse them. Two very different things. Right. How do you come out? Well, you come out to people one-on-one. And you sit down with them, at a bar. So yeah, there's something I want to talk to you. I've known you for a long time. Here, let me get another drink for both of us. I'm transgender. Now that would be a horrible way to do it, wouldn't you say? It's a good way to do it if you can preface it. Group presentation, we're going to get back to that one because that's the best way to do it at work. Victoria Dada had a thing on that earlier. Letter or email for people who are too far away. Video, that's how I did it for my friends who were not around. Social media is how I eventually did it with everyone who was kind of out there on the fringes. Phone, Skype, very impersonal really, but there it is. Other, you can send smoke signals, 7-4 flags. The objectives for today is to format your letter. Now, I'm going to use letter as a way to say every possible way and to deliver your message effectively. Letter could be that conversation at the bar. Let's sit down together. It could be that discussion in front of a group. It could be reading a letter to your parents. It could be any way of doing this. But you have to have a plan. Just like regular transition, if you go in without a plan, you're done. It's not going to work. Sorry to tell you. Right. And I should really form this. Your letter is going to have 3 parts. Your personal letter, or whatever. I'm going to refer to it as letter from here on out. What? Why? And a wish. 3 W's. What? Why? And wish. What? What is this thing about? I'm transgender. Why? I'm going to throw some quick science at you, but don't overwhelm them. I wish that you would continue into my life with me. Stay with me. I wish for your acceptance. What? Thank you for being who they are. Hey, you know what? We've been friends forever. And I want to thank you for that, especially that time, the place, and the thing. I'll never forget it. You may have noticed. That brings them into the conversation. Hey, you know, you may have noticed, boobs now, you know? You may have noticed I'm growing my hair out, and I used to have a very close military cut. I blank enough for you. This, again, brings them in. It makes them feel special. You want to engage their heart, because if you only engage their mind, you're in trouble. You've got to engage their heart, and that's why you're talking to them. You want them to be a part of your life. I love you enough to bring you into this. Remember, that was in that letter. And then the bomb. I am transgender. And then they're like, what? Well, transgender is, and you just lay it out there. I am transgender. That means my body and my mind. And I don't have to explain that part to you. Why? This is going to be the bulk of the letter. Tell your story. When did you know? I knew when I was 5. Actually, when I was 4. How it makes you feel. I can throw every statistic in the planet at you, but it's, you know, that doesn't tell you how I feel. You got to be McCoy instead of Spock on this one. You know your stuff, but you got to show your feelings, your emotions. And then the consequences of those feelings. I have felt like a person who's been in the wrong body all my life. And this has led to drinking, fighting, problems in school, being thrown out of the military, whatever it is. Very important, do not exaggerate. I am prone to this, but it's very important you don't do it. Stick with truth. Because if you bullshit, pardon my French, they're going to know, especially that person you've been with for, you know, your wife for 20-some years. They're going to know. This is exactly how I feel. This is exactly how it could be. 41% of people attempt, not 172. Don't exaggerate. Wish. As of March 25th, I will be living as a woman. My name is Sophie. Repeat that if necessary. Sophie. I would appreciate it, even them, if you would use proper pronouns. I would love to have you continue with me on this journey. Join me on this journey. Come with me. Walk by my side. I will answer any all appropriate questions, because I'll bet I can get the inappropriate questions from everybody in this room easily. I think you all know inappropriate questions. Thank them for listening. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to sit down with me today and just listen to what I have to say. It means a lot to me because it makes them feel appreciated in addition to everything else. Now, you think you're going to be nervous? Imagine being on the other end of that. Somebody has just dropped a major bomb in your life. And you're going to go. Their response, and this is important, what they say first may not be their final reaction. I had a friend who pledged undying help. I'm with you. Oh, I'm with you till the end. Yeah, it's great. And I never spoke to them again. I contacted them. I emailed. I called. Right to the message. They're gone. They're done. Expect confusion. Maybe anger. Maybe sadness. I had another friend who's still a very good friend get angry at me. Why didn't you think you could tell me? My father. Why didn't you think you could tell me? I'll get back to that one. And then, as I said, it's uncommon for people to say, I'm with you. I'm with you. Where'd they go? It's common. You ready for it? A lot of times it's the person who you expect is going to be the nicest and the person that's going to be with you. And the person who you expect to be the worst at this, I'm seeing some nods back there, the worst person who you expect is going to be an absolute jerk, They're your biggest allies. Go figure. You never know because you're not in their head. So, again, you're going to have to tailor that. Now then, the professional letter. I've been going through the emotion, the passion, the one-on-one. Please, let's sit down and have a drink. But now we can't do that because now we're at work. Now the purpose of the professional isn't identical to the personal. However, you're going to be doing it different. Style and content different. You're not going to be revealing your entire personal life. So, and then I tried to commit suicide and it didn't work. Memories. It ain't gonna work. You have to be appropriate and professional and carry a really big phone. It's your brick phone from 1980s.
It's a brick.
The difference, and this is major, human resources, HR. I know for some people that's a dirty word, but this is important. Your first point of contact is not going to be your boss. It is not going to be the CEO, unless you're in a tiny company. Your contact is human resources, unless you're in a mom and pop situation. I worked for Barnes & Noble. I contacted their regional HR, and I started there 6 months before I transitioned. Familiarize yourself with the employee handbook. Is there a policy in place? What are the laws? That's important. Here in Pennsylvania, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, there are no laws to keep them from firing me for being trans. None. New Jersey has it. Delaware, Maryland, New York. We are the only Commonwealth, the only state in the Northeast that does not have these laws. Know that. Especially if you're in an at-will state. Pennsylvania is an at-will state. They can come up with anything, off you go. Knowing that, forewarned is forearmed. And that will be part of your thinking as you compose your letter. Your first contact will probably be a one-on-one. Have a letter ready. Well, hi there, HR person. Well, yes, I'm going to be coming out. And I prepared this letter. I want to know what you think. And you go through the whole thing with them. The one-on-one. HR, by law, has to be confidential. So it's not going to leave that person unless you break the law.
So when you're saying a letter, is that letter from a therapist, or is it something?
This is your letter, your professional letter. You're going to have it ready in advance, and I'll get to why in a second. But know your separation procedure. Every company's got one. It's in the handbook. For Barnes & Noble, it's an oral, a written, and out. Unless you do something egregious.
When you say separation, you mean people being terminated for this?
In this Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, you can be fired for it on the spot.
So you gotta know that and be ready for it.
Yep. Now, be prepared for the questions. Are you under a doctor's care? Are you crazy? They won't say that because it's HR. Are you sure you want to do this? Do you have a time frame in mind? And are you, what are you, gay or something? Don't expect that from HR, but it could happen. It's rare. But the end of the doctor's care is going to happen. They're going to ask it. This is HR. Time frame, they will ask. Again, this is something you have to have planned. You have to have backup plans. And then backup plans to that. The whole transition thing is about planning. Be poised, always. If you don't know what they're thinking, make the best impression. Because if I go up to you and say, I'm going to look like a bumbling idiot. Does HR want that in their company? Hell no. Think of it as a job interview, because it is. You're interviewing for your job. You're in front of the Bobs right now. You're interviewing for your job. Because you're telling them, yes, here I am, but I want you to keep me, and this is why you want me to stay here. What the company wants is they want the best performance from you. They want you to do your job. That's why they hired you. That's why they pay you the big bucks, the little bucks. And they want you and your coworkers to complete the business objectives, and they want a good working environment. That's all they want. Basically, they want you to do your job, they want to make money, they want to make a profit. So, What the company does not want: drama. Let me rephrase that for you. They don't want drama. They don't want, you know, my boobs are coming in, it kind of itches, can I go to the ladies' room? Or, did you know what Johnny said about me? They don't want that. They want you to be efficient and doing your job. They do not want conflicts in the workplace. In other words, they don't want that person coming over to you and saying, "Fag." They don't want that. Big one. They don't want to be sued. So look for HR to be following their procedures. See earlier separation procedure. They will be following procedures to keep you or to leave you, one or the other. And they definitely don't want bad press. Now, the company I worked for had a 100% HRC rating. I'm very proud of that. 100%. We do the best. We're 100%. So these two, damn straight. This is what corporate didn't want. Store management didn't want these because corporate didn't see the rest. They didn't want suing and bad press. So corporate worked with them. Now, here's your corporate letter. I really got to change the color of this. There's your what, there's your why, and there's your when. Same thing. What, why, when. And then wish. But there's your when. Before wish. When. This is my timetable. I intend to go on vacation on the week of March 25th. I will be gone a week. And when I come back on March 31st, I will be Sophie. My first day of work scheduled is March 31st, and that will be Sophie. You've given them a week. You don't have to go away. You can simply say to them, look, on March 31st, I'm going to be Sophie. Try not to do it in the middle of a week. Try doing it on Monday or something like that. But give them some time. Don't be like, today's March 10th. Hey, tomorrow, I'm showing up in a dress. Or, tomorrow, I'm not showing up in a dress. Whatever way you're going. What? I'm transgender. Why? Throw the statistics. Professionally. And this is how it affected me professionally. You know, just say, this is how it made me feel, and this is why I'm changing. When I intend to make this change on this date. These are going to be, and before that, we're going to need this and this and this, and that's where you work with your HR. Wish, I want us to keep my job. I want to do my job. And that's it. Boom. Nothing else. Professional. Boom, 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 boom. What does appropriate mean? Well, it depends on your employer. For example, if you work for Playboy, that's going to be one thing. If you work for a retailer, it's going to be another thing. If you work for a Fortune 50, it's going to be a whole different thing. You're going to work with HR. They are going to need your letter in advance. That's why I said have your letter ready to run past the lawyers. That is a good thing. What that means is they're going to run in front of their lawyers and they're going to say, you know, what's the legalities of this? What's this? What's that? And when you send that letter to your management, is it all good? All details worked out in advance. All of them. Contingency plans. Partnering with your therapist. Very good idea. In fact, vital. So, to transition, you kind of need a therapist anyway. So you're talking to your therapist. You're talking to the HR. You're talking to your support network. No one transitions alone. You're talking to your friends. You're talking to the people who you love. Hopefully you've met some trans people and you can talk to them. And then, practice. And practice. And practice. Did I mention practice? If I haven't mentioned practice, you're going to practice. But the night before, you're not practicing anymore. You're not drinking. You're not playing with your Xbox. You're going to relax. It's a movie. You're going to sit back and enjoy. Because you're going to need some sleep. You got to be sharp the next day. You have to be on the next day. You're going to be nervous as heck. I'm not going to pretend. Sleep isn't going to be easy. But, yeah, if you're not going to sleep, you're in your chair. Like sign on for work the night before you have to work nights. And this is important. When you come out, there is no going back. I can throw every cliche at the book at you. Pandora's box is open. The genie's out of the bottle.
The cat's out of the bag.
Cat's out of the bag. A spoken word can never be taken back. But every cliche you prefer, you cannot undo this. You are marked. If I go out and say, Ms. North, I'm trans. I'm a girl inside. Ms. North no longer thinks of you as, in my case, Lance anymore. Lance is gone. Lance is someone different. Lance is one of those people. Now, if I don't continue through to Sophie, that means I'm full of something, or that I'm somewhere in between or something like that. But I said I'm Sophie to her. I didn't say I was gender fluid. I said I'm Sophie. Gender fluid is fine, but I have to tell her that. Be sure. For God's sakes, be sure. Does everyone know the story of the newscaster down in Miami? I think it was Miami, who was a weather person, who came out as trans, transitioned, did the weather and everything, called all kinds of hell, detransitioned, everyone gave him all kinds of hell and ended up blowing his head off with a pistol. Because all the grief that she took, was too much. So she decided not to detransition. And then they took even more. Because once you go, that bridge is burned. It's over. So be sure. Be absolutely sure. And that's why transition has to be the last result. Now, if it works, it's a beautiful thing. This is me on my first day of work. Okay, so I didn't wear something else. What's a bookstore? So, again, what? What is your what?
Sorry.
What is your what?
I'm still figuring that out.
I guess my why is...
No, what?
Oh, what? I
Yeah.
said why.
No, what?
Oh, okay.
What's your what?
So I'm gender fluid, and I know that I'm not going to...
No, that's actually even better. What?
So,
That's why I picked on you.
okay.
Because you mentioned it earlier. So what is your what?
So my what is that I'm gender fluid and I want to be more open about the way I live my life. I've been living this way, going to big cities and at home. I just want to be more open with my loved ones.
Cool. You're in front of HR. What is your what?
I'm from HR.
No, you are in front of HR. The
Oh.
rest of us are HR and we're all staring at you. What is your what?
Well, I am transgender, and I wanted to let you know because I intend on transitioning and give you supporting documents, and I still want to be part of the company.
There you go.
But this is...
No, just the what. Just the what. Annie, why?